NCIS is currently the third longest-running primetime series ever. And why wouldn't it be? It's been 19 years since its debut, and it's become one of the most popular series in its own right. Now, with its 20th season airing currently, we've watched over 400 episodes so far. But which ones are your favorite? Is it The Spinning Wheel or Twilight? Or maybe something more emotional like Call of Silence? We'd like to shine a light on some of our favorite ones today, so let's get right into it. First up in 7th place, Call of Silence. One of the most memorable episodes of the series is the 7th episode in the 2nd season, Call of Silence. In this particular chapter, we are introduced to Ernie Yost, who's played by Oscar nominee Charles Durning. He is a Medal of Honor recipient and a World War II vet who arrives at the NCIS headquarters and makes a startling confession. Yost claims he had murdered his friend when they were battling the Japanese almost 6 decades ago. His wife had recently died, so he had finally come to confess his crimes and also presented the team with the weapon he used to kill his friend. Though JAG Commander Faith Coleman orders Gibbs to arrest Yost immediately, he can't bring himself to do so. Instead, Gibbs tries to talk to the vet and learn more information because he's sure he's not guilty. The episode is really heavy, and you can see just how tense the cast is as well. McGee and Kate shed tears while Tony and Gibbs were on the verge of crying, so how could you expect us not to? It made us so emotional when Gibbs and the rest of the team worked on learning the truth. They really didn't want Yost to lose his medal, not to mention how perfect Durning was for the role. Did you know that the actor is a decorated vet himself? He took inspiration from his own experiences to bring the stellar performance to the screen and made it easy for us to sympathize with Yost's suffering. Coming up in 6th place, SWAC. The 22nd episode of the 2nd season has earned a spot on our list, and for good reason. The story begins when a letter addressed to the NCIS is opened and white dust blows out and it gets Tony in the face. While the rest of the office evacuates and begins the necessary procedures, things escalate. The bio-attack procedures are put into play and men in biohazard suits are on site, leaving us wondering just how bad this little dust could be. There's a lot of humor in the show when the team goes off to shower.
Got a box of honey dust last Christmas. No card.
And then there's Kate and Tony, who take a dig at each other every time they show up, which is why it's so heartbreaking to learn that Tony's infected with a really scary strain of plague, one that could kill him in the next 32 hours. Gibbs is operating at full strength, with little to no patience for anyone's laziness, particularly now that he knows one of his agents' lives is on the line. He's forced to work twice as fast and rushes from one place to the other, trying to learn who could have sent the plague through the post. This thrilling episode takes a drastic turn when they learn of a possible witness, and Gibbs sets out to successfully save Tony. Up next at number 5, Truth or Consequences. The 7th season's premiere is one of our favorite episodes because it shows just what NCIS is all about. The stressful start of the episode begins with Tony, who's been captured by terrorists and is recalling the past 3 months since Ziva disappeared. Tony recalls that the team had been trying to find a replacement for the missing agent, but had failed to find one who would fit into the team. If you'll recall, in the season 6 finale, Ziva had been kidnapped and had been tortured so badly that she was no longer recognizable, but Tony insists that it's not possible and even manages to find proof that she's alive.
What are the facts? Because we don't assume, we verify. Do we know she's dead? Because if we know she's dead, we're gonna get him.
Yeah, she's dead, and we will get court.
Vance had given Tony, Gibbs, and McGee permission to travel to Somalia, where they expected a ship with Ziva on it had run aground. Unfortunately, as they attempt to rescue her, McGee and Tony both get captured, forcing Gibbs to mount a second rescue mission and save them all. As the terrorist finally threatens to kill a hostage if Tony doesn't reveal the name of all the agents, we learn that it's Ziva. She's the one being threatened. The episode has everything if you ask us. Action, heart, twists, and turns. It's a delight.
The bank manager says Ray Vittoria was out sick 3 days prior to the bank robbery.
Confirms your theory, boss.
I do not understand. If you want someone dead, you knock on their door, they answer, you shoot them.
This episode starts off the season on a high note and is a perfect way to begin a new season of NCIS. Don't go anywhere because we're going to tell you what the top 4 episodes on our list are. Following up in 4th place, Family First. The 24th episode of the 13th season is on our list for being one of the saddest episodes in the series ever. Not only would this be the last time we'd see NCIS Special Agent Anthony DiNozzo Jr., but it would also be FBI Special Agent Tess Monroe's final appearance. As NCIS works with the FBI and MI6 to catch a British spy, Tony receives some life-altering news. Turns out that even more sad news, Special Agent Ziva David had been killed in a mortar attack. And that's not all. After she had resigned from the team, she gave birth to a child, Tali, and hadn't told Tony about her existence. Obviously, this is a lot to take in, so without any other thought, Tony resigns from the NCIS team as well. He gives up his position and announces that he's leaving his job to spend as much time as he could with his daughter. The team is shocked by his announcement, but is forced to continue searching for the killer.
He'll be back from the market in a little while. Until then, we just... Ooh, hey, I got one. All right.
Tony's final episode was filled with intrigue, mystery, and so many details about his relationship with Ziva. It also gave us one of the most memorable farewells to one of the longest-lasting characters on NCIS. Moving on, and number 3, Keep Going. The 13th episode of the 14th season is a masterpiece, not only because of the writers, but also because of the cast. This intriguing episode makes you think that the naval captain was killed in nothing more than a hit-and-run accident. The team is one step ahead, though. They spot the captain's son on the top of a nearby building and begin to realize something more mysterious may be afoot. Not to mention, this episode offered us one of Jimmy Palmer's best performances in the series. No wonder he's become a lead.
Honestly, we're still trying to figure that out.
Crazy thing is, a male's musk is so strong it often attracts another male to its turf.
He's so good that the rest of the team just disappears around him. Whether it was the moment when he told Abby that he was a doctor, or when Gibbs learned how he felt about him, it was all too good. Of course, the episode finished with a hug. It had left everyone, fans and cast, emotionally drained. Next up in second place, She. She is the 13th episode of season 16, and it's almost impossible for anyone watching it to pick their jaws up off the floor by its end. Before we get to the chapter's biggest reveal, the episode begins with a malnourished 9-year-old girl who was found in a storage house. When the team learns of her existence, they are forced to reopen a cold case that had once been investigated by former agent Ziva. Bishop realizes that the young girl had never stepped out into the real world after her mother helped her escape. Turns out, Ziva had a private office no one had known about, and that office has been paid up through 2020. We're told that in season 7. Since the agent had been unable to solve the missing person case,
you never actually get used to it. You think you will, but you never do. Okay, I have a badge.
Sit down.
she rented the office to continue investigations outside of work. There was a lot of suspense packed into one episode, and this is why it secured the second spot on our list. Lastly, number 1, The Arizona. The 20th episode of season 17 has secured the first spot on our list. It is the first time that NCIS really dives into the military history of the United States instead of just investigating another crime. This time around, it was the attack on the Arizona at Pearl Harbor that had caused the public to push the U.S. into entering the Second World War. The episode introduces us to Navy vet Joe Smith, who's played by Christopher Lloyd. He claimed that because he had served with his men on the Arizona, he wanted to be buried there with the other Pearl Harbor survivors. Of course, they need to figure out if the vet's speaking the truth. Eventually, Gibbs pushes the 95-year-old to spill what he remembers, and does Lloyd deliver or what? The unforgettable moment when Smith recalls the events, along with Gibbs' expression, is perfect. That's what made the episode, the amazing performances, not to mention Gibbs' confession of how Kuwait changed him.
The murders don't connect.
So maybe we're just chasing a ghost.
No, not me, I'm done. Take care, Marcy.
Such rare and incredible moments have earned this episode the top position on our list. That's a wrap for this video. Which NCIS episode is your favorite? Let us know in the comments below. Thanks for watching.